Well, we are back for some more Atlas Mercury material today. In their YouTube channel, Atlas has recently shared a video about filming with the camera rotated on its side to take advantage of a different aspect ratio. They call this Atlascope, but I posted a video just a few weeks before them doing the same thing, so I think I'm gonna call it Tito-scope. Just kidding. If I learned one thing from my experiment is that lots of folks have been doing this on and off for decades now, and it just never really catched on. I wonder if the nightmare in rigging is the reason. But with that considered, I put together a much better rig this time than my original experiment and had much more time to experiment with framing and story. So let's get started.
My friends and I used to do movie nights all the time. We'd have popcorn, buttery, crunchy, delicious popcorn. And we'd huddle up, laughing and even crying together. But now, everyone's gone. And I'm here, alone. I still make popcorn though, a reminder of those times. Would they come back if I had more popcorn to share? Because it was just us, the movie, and the popcorn, and that was all we needed. Sharing is caring.
The key aspect of this video is that since the Mercuries can cover full frame, I'm using the S1H open gate mode, which has a 3:2 aspect ratio rotated on its side. That, combined with the 1.5 times squeeze of the lenses, gives me a perfectly square aspect ratio, which is pretty dope by itself. I learned that making a full square frame is very big challenge compared to a regular or wider frame. So in that little ad that you just saw, we struggled lots with the added height and how we could frame things without distorting people, but also not looking too far into the white walls of my apartment. On the day, I felt that our close-ups weren't as close as I wanted them, but in the edit, I can see the aspect ratio worked pretty well for the round shape of the popcorn bowl, the three-person composition, and the shape of our talent's face. As we filmed this one wide open, we struggled with lots of areas going out of focus, especially on the top and bottom of the frame. And here, the cat eye focus area I described in the previous video becomes more of a circle, which I'd say is easier to work with. There is a fair amount of smearing towards the corners, but I don't feel it detracts from the image itself, as this time we played things way more centered. For the rig, thanks to multiple mounting points on the cages of both the monitor and the camera, I was able to rotate everything 90 degrees without much trouble this time, allowing for proper remote monitoring and focus pulling. I still wanted to test the lenses in a less extreme setting, so we took them out again during daytime to run tests at t4 and 5.6 to see how that went. I noticed strong vignetting on the top and bottom of the frame during the edit, which might have been caused by the matte box we had on the day. This top and bottom vignette also shows up in the popcorn video, but in much less noticeable fashion, and we didn't have a matte box then. Improvising and not having to follow a story in this situation made the experience a lot easier, but I constantly felt our shots were too wide. To get proper close-ups, we had to go with the longest lens and still get pretty close to the subject. Stopping down improved performance significantly, reducing the blurry corner areas and flattening the field curvature simply by giving us a bit more depth of field. Check my previous video on the Mercury lenses to understand better what I mean by this. After all these experiments, I really enjoyed playing with these lenses. I thought the 1.5 times squeeze was gonna bother me because it's not 2 times, but having the flexibility of turning the camera on its side for a vastly different experience and results is the type of versatility that pushed me towards anamorphics in the first place, to create images in ways that most people are not thinking of doing at the moment. Hopefully this video inspires you a little more towards either the lenses or this weird aspect ratio. I'd love to hear your thoughts about my experiments, so fire away in the comments below. I have one more episode about these lenses comparing their performance in full frame versus Super 35. If you want to know more about that, make sure to subscribe. Thank you for hanging out, and I'll see you on the next one. Tito Ferradans, out.